Hey guys, Kev here, and I have some rapid reviews to do for you. So, I got three designs here, three knives here. These two are the same. I've had this for about a month now, and I have good experience with it. This one I've had for, I don't know, a few days, maybe half a week, something like that. I need to get it back to the owner. Not going to carry and use it anyway, because he asked me not to, so no need to pretend that I'm going to do some kind of like long-term review on it. So that one I'm just going to run through quick. I did an unboxing and a disassembly, so there's multiple videos on this guy. And then this guy I've had for a little over a week, I think, maybe a little bit more, from White Mountain Knives. Shout out to them. Use my code LeftyEDC over there. And this one I have carried a little bit, used a little bit, and I have some thoughts on this one as well. So we will run the gamut real quick. Just for those interested in the Lamia review, I will knock this one out first. This is the SPK, or Steingraber Performance Knives Lamia. And this was loaned in by Matthew Sawinski. Thank you to Matthew for sending this guy in for me to check out. I appreciate it. And ultimately, this knife is not for me, but it's really not the knife's fault. It's just preference, right? Like, it's not like there's anything wrong with the knife, I should say. There are some things design-wise I don't love, but again, sort of preference related. So just take that with a grain of salt. If this is your style, if this is, you know, up your alley, then I think it's a really good knife. I think it's made extremely well. The tolerances are really good. You can tell a lot of thought went into this from people I've talked to. Now, I haven't talked to Alex Steingraber about this because I can't. I got blocked. It's a whole thing I don't want to talk about because it doesn't actually matter. But from what I've heard from people who have talked to him, he's all about getting feedback on the design. So people who get one, he reaches out and he asks them for feedback so he can make the design and make the knife and the build better. And that's something, personally, as a consumer, I really like to hear. You know, props to Alex for doing that. That's cool. And I just talked to a guy today who has two. He has one that's like number 7, and he has one that's like number 35 or 85, something like that. This one I think is 102 or 120, one of the two. I have the thing over there, but the COA, but it doesn't matter. So it sounds like he's constantly trying to improve. I heard some things about the lock bar insert and having some issues. I don't even know if there was one originally, but there is obviously now, and there may have been, but it had maybe some issues, and he just kind of kept, you know, working at it until he got it down. And I got to say, I mean, there's no issues there with the lockup. Feels really good. Didn't, you know, don't feel any detent play or anything like that. So, yeah, so that's cool. We'll run through the normal review process here. So aesthetically, this is the coolest looking finish I've ever seen on a knife. Hands down, I just think it's dope. It does seem a little bit darker up in this area right here than it does on this side. So I don't know if that's just my lighting or, you know, I think that's really just what it is, honestly. But it's got this double ano finish. From what I understand, Matt tried to explain it to me. Something about anoing it and then using nail polish to cover stuff and then anoing it again. Because you could do the higher voltage color and then nail polish off and then do the lower voltage color, and it would keep the higher voltage color underneath, I guess. Something like that. I've never seen it done before. I've never seen like a paint splatter look like this before. This is badass. It's really awesome. I gotta give them props. This is an amazing finish on a knife. That, plus, personally, I really like the color combo. It's just kind of neat. It'd be even cooler if the blade was in Van X, but that's, you know, just a little icing on the cake. Would have been anyway. So, yeah, aesthetically, My gripe with the aesthetics is this hump down here in the handle and how the blade comes down into it. And I talked about it in, I think, both videos, so I don't want to beat a dead horse. But the angle here, it just looks like there's not a lot of blade to handle ratio. It kind of knocks that off balance, makes it look odd. Now, it's not actually bad. You do have a little bit of handle left over, but this isn't like egregious blade to handle ratio. It's fine. It's just that the way this comes up, swoops down, and the blade angles this way, it just makes it look a little goofy to me. But as soon as you pop it open, boom, it looks great. So there is no blade to handle ratio issue. It's just a visual thing when the knife is closed, if that makes sense. So open, I think it's a sexy looking knife. I really like the design. It's simplistic. It's very, you know, I'm not going to say simple again because I just said it twice, but you know, it gives me vibes of the Shaman. It gives me vibes of, you know, a Native series knife maybe. Here's the Native 5. You know, if you took a Shaman and a Native 5 and kind of put them together, I think, you know, this is kind of what you're getting there. But I think it's cool for sure. So aesthetics, cool. It has this milling in the blade, which looks pretty dope in my opinion. Apparently he does a belt satin as well. Both would be cool in my book. What else? Aesthetically, and there might be more I hit along the way, but I like the whole design. I like the pill shape. Again, you're looking at essentially a Voxnez pill shape kind of design, which is cool with me. I like that for sure. Ergos. So the ergos are really good. It's comfortable in hand. I enjoy it in the hand. Most people are probably going to hold it like this. I'm more of a choke up kind of guy, so it is a little bit awkward, but just because it gets kind of thicker up here, but it still feels really good in the hand. You can get right up to the edge termination here. You can get into a good pinch grip, get your index finger up there to do these type of cutting, utility cuts that I like. Yeah, it feels good. I'm not going to go into reverse grips and shit. That's not stuff I actually do. I'm not a tactical guy. So, yeah, ergos are good for me. Carry. So I didn't carry this knife. So I couldn't even tell you what this clip feels like. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know what it feels like. It does have this relief cut right there where it ends. So potentially, let me just stick it in my pocket one time. Yeah, so it's a bit tight, but I'd rather it be a bit tight than loose. That's all I'm gonna say. I didn't carry it, so I'm not gonna act like I did. So, cutting again. I cut one sheet of paper. I will say it feels very thin behind the edge. You can just tell. I mean, you can just take your finger and run it, and it feels fantastic. This is 6465 HRC crew wear. At this point, I know that Alex is known for his heat treat, so I'm just going to go ahead and trust that it's probably a ridiculously good heat treat, especially for a folding knife. So 6465 crew wear, awesome. If I ever got one of these, which, you know, at this point I probably won't, I would love to get a Van X one. That would be sweet. But I know he's done a bunch of different steels, S30V, Magna Cut, crew wear, Van X. I mean, he might have even done the Rexes, like Rex 121. So that's pretty cool stuff. Cutting, carry, ergos, aesthetics. I'm sure I'm missing something. Sounds. Sounds are okay. It's a washer knife, so you got to keep that in mind. Yeah, I put it at like a 5 out of 10 on sounds, but that's just the nature of a washer type knife like this. You're not going to have it fly out like that and then you know, ring close like that. It's just, you know, that's just not what it's meant to do. So 5 out of 10, which is average, which is fine, you know. Okay, so action / fidget factor on this guy. The fidget factor is pretty low on it. And again, as I spoke about in the beginning, it's not meant to have fidget factor really, right? The detent is very strong, which normally I'm a fan of. It might be a little too strong on this one, but I'm not going to sit here and complain about it because I'd rather lean strong than weak. And once you get used to it, it feels pretty good. But you do have to get used to it. At first, you're just like, damn, that's strong. Left-handed, it works. If you're up on this pivot, you can pop it out like that. I did get down on the clip and was able to do it, but not ideal. And then where I want to land, if I pick the knife up and want to flick it left-handed, I'm right here and I just can't. I have to adjust to up here. And then the flick can be awkward because I'm putting my thumb here, index finger here, and I'm trying to get this middle finger down here, and I'm trying to get enough leverage to get it all the way out. And it doesn't always happen. I kind of got to give it a little pop, right, with the wrist, which is fine. Now, right-handed, one thing I'll note is I don't love the placement of the hole, like the way, the angles or whatever, because it feels like you got to use the real corner of your finger here. And with the strong detent, it really does grab you pretty good. Now, it works, but I think there would be a more comfortable blade shape, hole shape, kind of like a teardrop shape, kind of like the Evo, where it kind of catches more of your finger. It's kind of like a keyhole, right? It catches more of your finger so you can get more meat, which means you can get more leverage, which means it feels better, right? Sorry, I'm not used to that one right-handed. Right there. Just pop it like a keyhole. I don't even know what that saying means, but whatever. Or if you look at something like the Jaeger M, you have that kind of squared, but you can get more meat in there. And then it fires it out, right? Or my own design on the Stout, you can just get a lot more meat in there. And even with the really strong detent, it doesn't matter because of the angle you have there and the pressure. Now, it does work. It's not like it's bad. It's just a different shape might have been better for me personally. But I think the aesthetic looks really good with this, so totally get it. And I don't think this knife is meant to be fidgeted with. So, you know, maybe it's even meant to be slow rolled, which I struggle with. Just in general, I struggle with that. But with the detent, it's a little bit hard. But you can thumb flick this guy real easy. I mean, it's definitely a good thumb flick hole. So you have that, and then you have the reverse flick, and it flies out. Now, it's on washers, so you'll notice I've never had it shake down close for me. I'm going to disengage it, and it's going to just stay open. You can shake it down, and I did have it tuned at one point where it would hit my nail, like almost hit my nail, but you still have to do this to close it. And that's just the way this knife is meant to be. Now, it's dead centered. In the unboxing, I stated that Matt told me it had to be a little bit off center to get the right action to where it actually feels kind of, you know, like it's dropping a little bit. There's no play there, and it's not shaking down. If I take the... If I take the T15 and tweak it just slightly, and I mean ever so, I'm just ever so slightly tweaking it. So there, I didn't tweak it at all. I gotta hold this side on. There, you see? Now I got it to swing down. I still gotta close it like that. Centering is... It might have leaned a little bit over to the show side, but it's still pretty good. But we're going to have little smidgen of play there. And that's just kind of what you're going to deal with. I think over time, if Matt keeps this or whoever ends up with this, if they carry it enough, and you'll see now we're dead centered again. But play is basically gone, but now it's not going to swing down. So it's just, you know, you're just going to choose how you want it. But I do think the best move with a knife like this is to have it pretty much tight, dead centered, lock tight that biatch, and then just use it, carry it, use it. And it will break in. And at some point, this will be a knife that swings down to about here, and then you just go like that. And that's just how it's going to be with a washer knife most of the time. Yes, some washer knives can drop shut, I know, and I'm sure there's somebody out there with the Lamia who's going to tell me theirs does that. Great, I'm glad it does. I would love one of these that did that, so good for you, right? But it's very smooth. That's one thing I want to note is it is very smooth. Those washers are well done. They're smooth. They're big. They just feel good. So no complaints on the action, other than the fact that it's washers, and I just don't do washers personally. So that's the Lamia, guys. Overall, I think it's a great knife. I think the fact that it's made in the United States by a dude in his shop is something I always try to harp on when it's a knife that I have, like the Mini FSD or the Rosies I've had. It's really cool to see that. It's cool to see that he's on top of it. He's trying to get feedback. I would love a bearing version of this knife, maybe with this chopped down a little bit. Like if this just came down like this a little bit to make that look, you know, more even or whatever. And then it was on bearings. I'd probably be all over it. I'm not saying that'll happen, but that's just, you know, that's why we're here, right? For me to tell you what I think. So there we go. That's the Lamia. So get that back to Matt. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate you sending that in. All right. Next up, we'll do the Knafs Co landers. So Knafs Co, this is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. That last one was probably, you know, $1,000 knife or something like that. These are $60. I bought two because I got this one. I thought it was cool, and then I thought my wife might want one, so I got this one and got the purple scales for it. This knife is really good. For $60, it's impressive. Now, it is D2, and the D2 is listed at like 57 to 59 or something like that. After speaking to some people, like Transparent Knives and other people, apparently that's pretty much par for the course for D2 coming out of China, so it's not like bad. It's just what it is. But you would want something more like 61. Now, in my limited use, because I am not somebody who goes around cutting a ton of shit with one knife, right? I have a lot of knives. I use them, but I don't have hard tasks because I'm not, you know, I'm not a blue collar guy. And I also have a lot of knives. So the chances of me feeling a knife edge out is pretty tough, you know? So I don't pretend that that's something I do or have expertise in. So I don't know how the D2 holds up on this. I'd love for somebody in the comments to tell me if you've had one of these, if you've tested the edge, etc., right? Now, aesthetically, I think it's a really good-looking knife, honestly. It's very simple, and it's just grown on me. I think they took the banter, and they shrunk it down this way, and that did a lot for the design, for me personally. I wasn't into the banter, really, visually. This one, I'm more into. So I like the spear point blade, but I like how it comes out to more of a tip. A lot of these spear points lately are really snub nose. For example, the Jack Wolf Knives Canine Jack has a really nice spear point, but it's really snub nose. And you can see the lander has a little bit more of a penetrating tip. And that's something I really like to see on a spear point. If I'm going to get a spear point, I'm cool with it, but I want it to have a tip more like this or something even narrower like the Jack Wolf Knives Vampire Jack, which has a really narrow, pokey type of tip, which is perfect. So I think aesthetically it's cool. I think the thumb studs work. I think the different scales are cool. I am working on getting fat carbon scales made for these, so that would be cool. The clip is pretty much just budgety, but it all looks fine. For a $60 knife, this looks good, right? I'm not sitting here trying to tell you this looks better than that last knife, right? But it's a cool knife, you know? Ergos are good. It's a small knife. 2.75-inch blade, 6 3/4 overall, something like that. Feels good in the hand. That clip is a bit of a hot spot. It sits up kind of tall, and then this is one of the reasons why at Devo we really like the wire clip, especially one like this. There's different kinds of wire clips. They're not all created equal. Like our CMB prototype, I hate the clip. It's kind of weird. This looks identical, but I do not like this clip because in the hand, it just really sits in a bad spot for me. This somehow doesn't do that. So I don't know if it's the design / the clip or if this is a little bit different at the end there. Yep. See how tall this sits up at the end? It comes up and then it sits up really high off the frame. This one sits much lower off the frame. So you don't feel that in your palm, where this one, you really feel it. So we're swapping that clip out on that prototype, just FYI. But this kind of has a bit of that where it sticks up and it just, I don't know, it doesn't feel great in my hand. But otherwise, the ergos are good. You can choke up pretty good, get up behind the edge, get into pinch grips, index really well. That's stuff that Ben is always talking about. So I like the ergos, just not, you know, the greatest knife ever in terms of ergos. The carry, the clip is great. It's recessed, and so are the screws on a $60 knife. That's money. The clip works really great. Not much else to say. It is reversible, which is fantastic. Love it. Oh, one thing I will note on carry is this filler tab is reversible, but you'll see the angle is not. So when this is on this side for a righty, it sits flush. This is flush right here. But when you have it flipped over to the left side, there's this gap right here because this is on an angle, right? On this side, it's flush. On this side, it's not. He basically would have to have a part made for that, which honestly, I would include. How much could it cost to have that piece be included in the box, right? And then if you're left-handed, you can flip it and pop this filler tab in that's flush. I would include that personally, but that's just me. Yeah, so otherwise, carry's good. It's lightweight, all that good stuff. No issues. Cutting. So I have cut with this a good bit. I've opened a lot of packages, cut some cardboard. I don't know if I've cut any fruit or anything, but I've carried these quite a bit over the last month. And I really enjoy it. It has a relatively thin edge. It's not like stupid thin, but it's very usable for EDC. It comes really sharp. QSP did a great job. Both of them feel about the same. You do have a saber grind, flat grind down here. Feels good. Nice stone wash, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, the tip is good. And it's a spear point, so you can get into things. It's a low enough tip, which is obviously what I like. If you open up a chip bag, if you, like my kid gets these fruit gummy things, and for some reason, the little notch on it that you're supposed to tear, it never works. And it's like thick-ass material. So I always use a knife, and I just slice it off. And this has a low enough tip that I'm comfortable just jabbing it in, and, you know, that's where clip points aren't fun. But I cut some shipping labels before I switched over to the label printer. Fantastic. You get good penetration with the tip. I can get right to it like this. And, yeah, so cutting, in my opinion, is good. Again, can't speak to how the edge will hold up. One thing I want to note is the D2. I have not had it rust. And I rust knives pretty easily. But honestly, I'm starting to think it's mostly just bead-blasted knives, which are inherently bad for that. And it's right-handed knives, because they go in my back left pocket with the ass juice, or the acid, as some people would call it. But this was in my front left because it can be reversed, so that's a benefit. But I haven't had any issues with this D2, which is good to note. Carry, cutting, sounds, they're really good, honestly. I would give this like a 7 out of 10, believe it or not. It just has a good pop. Everything just sounds like good to me, like crisp. I don't know how to explain that better. Pop, nail, shake. I don't know, just fun to open and close, so I give the sound 7 out of 10. Action / fidget factor, fantastic. I mean, it really pops. The detents on these are really good. I did strengthen this one slightly, but that was preference. I mean, it came really good. I just wanted it a little bit stronger. Really pops. I mean, the way he dials his thumb stud placement is perfect. It's a liner lock, so lefty, righty, no issues. Reverse flick, thumb flick, all of it works. I can use any hand for this. I mean, no issue at all. So I enjoy it. The closing action, it is on bearings, drops to your nail, and it really has no business being this drop shut at this size. I mean, this one's literally just and one shake. There is no play. Oh, maybe a little bit on that one. It's dead centered. What about this one? Nothing there that I can feel. Dead centered. Let me check this one again. I think that's more the whole frame just ratcheting when I do that. Because I know I super glued this guy in place. And it's dead centered. I mean, as centered as you're going to get. So, I don't think it's play. And if it is, it's super minimal. Fit and finish is really good for a knife this inexpensive. And the cool thing about these is the scales are swappable, right? Now, they say you only need to take 2 screws out. That's wrong. Because no matter how you look at it, it's 4. You have to take these 2 out and the filler tab out. These 2, there's one under here, and the clip off. You can't just take it off with the filler tab on. You can't just take it off with the clip on. So it's really more than 2 on each side. I don't know why, advertising, I guess. The same thing TRM says, and it's like, no, you have to remove the clip. So that counts as screws, guys. But it is still really easy. I like the system, and I like it enough that I'm trying to get Carbonized to make fat carbon scales. I sent him the open source file and was like, hey, man, make some of these, please. So, yeah. Overall, great knives. Knafs Co Lander. Highly recommend for the price point. It's a no-brainer. If this was in 14C, it would be an absolute just like grand slam. As is, it's a pretty much home run. So, there you go. Knafs Co Lander. And then lastly, we have the PMP knives. What was this one again? The User 2. Sorry. And I really like this knife aside from 2 things. One, it's not super lefty friendly. And 2, it's freaking bead blasted. And yes, I had an issue with this one, and I had to do surgery on it. But I did clean it up, and it is fine now. But I did have some rusting on it. So that's always an issue when you have something like that happen. And this is S90V, which is decently stainless. But you can see maybe just a hint of the spots right here. It's really hard to see unless you're looking through the camera right there and getting the light right there. But I went, I had to use flits. I had, and I got it out, but it was a pain in the ass. And that's because it's bead blasted. If this was a stonewash, I would have had no issues. So it's just a pain. I just hate bead blast, but I think some people think it looks good. I think it looks okay in this case, but I'd much rather have a satin or a stonewash and not have rusting issues, All I did was carry it like any other knife. All these knives, none of them rusted, So it just sucks. But anyway, this is the User 2 from PMP Knives. We believe it's made by Tuya Knives is what I understand. I know Kubi makes some of their stuff, so that's possible too. You have this blue anno finish, satin hardware, bead blasted S90V, and I think it's like $189 or something, which is pretty good. If you want to check this out, White Mountain Knives, you can use my code LeftyEDC. Has a wire clip, which I love. I really love knives that are more premium with wire clips, and that's obvious because I kind of sell them. So, aesthetically, I think it's a sexy looking knife. I really like the lines. I like the thinness. I like the drop point on it. I actually really like the lock bar access thing. It looks a little goofy, but it works great. You do have a choil right here. It feels really comfortable in hand. Skipping over to ergos here. Really good in the hand. It's a little bit large, but I mean, it's not an issue or anything. I would only hold it up here, so it could be shorter, but you can get into many a grip right here. Yeah, I think it's cool. It almost seems like it might have a slight recurve, but I don't think it does. It looks sexy closed, and it has this goofy looking flipper tab. And I gotta say, I hate it. I hate the flipper tab. It works as a front flipper. This thing is stupid in my opinion. So you can just get up here like a front flipper and pop it open, right? No problem. Just pop it open. Left-handed, grab that, boom, pop it right at that corner. Jimping goes up and around, which is really nice. Then you have this top thing. And yeah, if you hold it at the side like this, you can use it. But if you try to do that like vertically, it's... I just got it, but normally I struggle with this and I like slip off of it. Of course, now I'm just going to hit it every time, right? Yeah. But it looks like you could do the reach around on it, right? Ow. And you just can't. Like, I want to do it because it looks so good. It looks like you could just grab it, rip it, and you just can't. Then you slip off of this guy, and it's just like, why? Why didn't you just do the front flipper? Just leave it as a front flipper, you know? But I guess technically, if you get the right angle and you get it like this, it'll pop. And, you know, when you do, it's fun. It is cool when you get it. So I'll give it that. The other cool thing is you can flick this. As a righty, you can pop it right off of there. It doesn't work left-handed because of the frame lock, but right-handed, you can get in there and just flick it, and that feels good. Part of that is because it is a bead blast, so that's one good thing for the bead blast. The closing action, drop to the nail, smooth shake down, dead nut center. Just, I like it. I actually like it quite a bit. I skipped some stuff there, didn't I? Carry, really nice. I mean, you have this simple wire clip, and it just goes in pocket like a dream. It weighs nothing. Look at the construction, right? It's thin. It's just super lightweight. It's great construction for carry. God, see, this is what I'm talking about. There you go. The cutting. So I didn't do much cutting with this. I did a little bit. It has a decent edge, comes down to a decent edge. S90B, so to hold an edge as long as that heat treat is proper, which I don't know what it is. And I didn't use it enough to test that. But this would be a good EDC knife, you know. I think it's got a pretty damn good edge on it and good geometry and all that stuff. The plunge grind, it drops off dramatically. So, like, you have kind of one of those 90-degree, just drops right off. And I think it's done pretty well, but I'm not an expert. You can take a look there and let me know what you think. It's kind of on this weird angle. Yeah. And like I said, the action's good. The lock bar access is phenomenal. Just so easy to get in there because you got this whole tab sticking out. Now, can that be an issue if you're using it? And, you know, but you're probably going to choke up like this. And I don't really see a scenario where you're accidentally going to, like, pull this up, you know? I just don't see that happening. Maybe left-handed, you could, you know, do this on accident. But, like, I'm trying, guys. I just don't see that. I've never seen that as an issue on any knife, really. So, I don't think so. I think it's just good lock bar access, honestly. But, yeah, you can't lefty flick it. Maybe if yeah. So that is the PMP User 2. Cool knife. If they make one that's not a bead blast, I would recommend this. That's, you know, but if it's only bead blast, then, you know, I don't know. I probably wouldn't. There's the Knafs Co lander. And the first one is a long video, sorry. There you go. SPK Lamia. So let me know what you guys think down below. I appreciate it. I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.